Hello, everyone, and thank you all for coming out this evening.
My name is Adam Kwame.
And my name is Simone Lee, and we are your hosts for this evening.
In celebration of Black History Month, our student groups have chosen Honoring the Past and Inspiring the Future as the theme for this year.
So far, we've had special appearances by Cornell West, Dick Gregory, and Daniel D., as well as an eye-opening trip to the Blacks in Wax Museum in Baltimore. The trip to the museum served as a reminder of our history.
Tonight, we'll be focusing on the future with a series of Black Monologues. The Black Monologues are designed to give students and staff an opportunity to share their stories through a creative and empowering forum.
Black Monologues was first introduced at the University of Maryland by Haley Haywood in 2010. At the time, Ms. Haywood was the Black Student Involvement Graduate Coordinator in the MICA office. Based on her experiences at Clark University, she decided to bring the Black Monologues program to the University of Maryland.
Now in its fourth year, Black Monologues has continued to impact our campus community by giving students and now faculty members a chance to express their identities, voice their concerns, and to highlight the beauty that is being part of the African diaspora.
Tonight, we have a strong lineup of performers, so we will not hold them up any longer. We invite you to stay for the question and answer dialogue that will take place after all the performers have shared their stories.
Without further ado, we welcome our first performer.
What are you? Where are you from? What do you do? Now, how many times have I heard this? Questions I'm asked directly and indirectly every day. Questions I've answered time and time again. Well, first, I'm a person. I'm a spirit, wild and free, a traveler without a destination, a lover of the mind and purveyor of truth. But is this what you ask? And by where am I from, are you referring to where I live or my ethnic background? So you can find out why my skin is so fair and my hair so coarse. And no, you can't touch it. Contrary to what you may think, I'm a spicy Latina with a whole lot of soul. A mix of Puerto Rican and African American, but no, I don't like spicy foods. And of course, you've never come right out and asked me these blatantly ignorant questions. I see the way you find the most politically correct words, phrasing and rephrasing your statement, trying your hardest not to offend, and in the end, offending me the most. Do I confuse you? Is it hard for you to understand the way I speak, the freckles on my face, or how I stare you directly in your eye as the words stumble from your lips? Yeah, I wonder. So, what do I do? Is it a matter of what I do or how I do it? How I love to speak for people without a voice of their own. So fine, let's have a conversation. Black people, immigrants, demand and trust, education, judicial, a system corrupt. My privilege, your privilege, do you know what you owe? I'm sorry, was that too fast? Did I answer too many questions you never even asked? Well, fine, let's keep it light. Yes, I like clothes, the weather is great. Hold on, can I get your Instagram real quick? Or you can ask me my dreams and I'll say something real. I am Ashley Victoria Evangelista, but I am that and so much more. I'm a woman, a lover, and an open mind. Where I'm from can only be described as a combination of streetlights, chicken boxes, and red beans and rice. I stand for justice and equality, peace and confrontation, outright determination and organic thought. A Chinese major with Spanish roots, Islamic in faith and decidedly fluid. So when you ask me what I am, is this what you seek? You know none of me until you know all of me. So ask the right questions and I'll show you me.
I am America. I am the part you won't recognize, but get used to me. Black, confident, cocky, my name, not yours. My religion, not yours. My goals, my own, get used to me. Muhammad Ali.
This global warming stuff, it's no joke. Like just yesterday, it was burning, but now I'm so cold. And it's like no matter how many layers I put on, I just can't stay warm. It's kind of like that with friendship, see? You can't really stop liking your friends no matter how cold they are. And when it's hot, well, you can't really fight that either. But right now, I'm freezing. But it doesn't really matter because I'm still cheesing. See, I've always proclaimed God, but only recently have I begun my quest for what's missing. And I found it in him, the one that I'm kissing. I think about it when I read the Bible, even though we don't always do by the Bible things, per se. But I just know he's the Adam to my Eve, and you're the breath I breathe. You're my best friend. You're my friend forever. But lately, the only thing that's forever is the argument we have whenever we're together, because you're on fire for Christ, and that's great, but I'm just chilling. And ever since you've caught fire, I've been chilling with him. But you say that his sweet words are just the devil speaking, and that all he sees when he looks at me is a good girl he can turn bad. But let's be real. I'm not really good or bad. I'm just chilling. And ever since you've got fire, I've been chilling with him. But is this all cool with him? God. But then again, I find it kind of odd that someone who has premarital sex is worse in his eyes than someone who shuns those who love outside of his context. See, you've become so distant like the summer haze, and I'm fall. So I guess I'm falling in love in my fall ways with him. But when it all falls down, because it will all fall down, do we all go down? Or do those like you get to go home? And really, what's a home without a homie? So if me being lukewarm means that you disown me, then I hope you have fun in heaven. But think of me when you're lonely. Because if between being like you and being with him, I might just go to hell with him. Or better yet, we can just stay here on earth, because this is just too much thinking. And this can't be sin. God wouldn't allow something so wrong to feel so right. And I wouldn't allow a relationship to get that tight. That'd be stupid. And I'm not stupid. Some girls are stupid. Remember when we used to talk about them? What was that show called? On Oxygen, Bad Girls Club. That was like your favorite show. Till you got saved. And remember Kobe? That was like your favorite pro. Till he strayed. Because you're too good for me and Kobe. We acknowledge God, but then we deliberately choose to sin. At least Kobe went on TV and denounced his mistake. I'm still just chilling. Too scared to let you down, but even more scared to let him go. But is he really the solution to my sin? Is he what's keeping me from a real resolution? Because see, if there's a heaven, I want to get in. I want to spend eternity with him. But I want to spend my life with him. See, the closest I've ever gotten to heaven is in his arms, and the most hellish I've ever felt was with you. And unlike me, living in this weird, crazy limbo world, heaven and hell are at clear ends of the spectrum. So if it's burning hot in hell, how cold must it be in heaven?
Most of us know perfectly well what religion is until someone asks us to define it. St. Augustine.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون. On that day, we shall set a seal on their mouths, but their hands will speak unto us, and their feet will bear witness to all that they have earned in this life. Hands. I remember hands, hot, seething with rage, calm, quiet till they burst with frustration, lively, doing the dance of destruction. My hands have seen. My hands have bore witness to the pain those hands have caused. My hands have covered my senses, shielded them from truth. Only now have I realized they have covered my heart. My hands revel in numbness, no longer feels pain until I reflect. Cover my eyes. What do these hands see? Hands, safe, directive, guiding, so soft, so gentle. How could they have caused pain? Hands sore with hurt, that wiped away tears and held me closer. Hands that pushed, hands that pulled, hands that scratched, hands that hurt. Cover my ears. What do these hands hear? The begging, defending, the pleading, the weeping, the begging, the begging, the begging to stop. That's heard through one hand and out the other. Cover my heart. What leaks out? Hurt, tears, gasping breaths leaked out from my tiny hands. As the pain was forgotten, as the stitch healed, those hands ripped a new wound, a bigger one. My hands grew. I was able to cover the wound, but it has not healed. My hands have hid, has cried, has written out the pain, yet blood flows out from this wound, leaking through my fingertips. My hands have seen those hands heavy, lined with regret, yet filled with rage, as they carve new holes in foundation with their pain. So when my hands shake, when they fill with rage, when they begin to do the dance of destruction that seems so natural to them, I tremble in fear of future chapters. What story will my hands tell?
The past is a ghost. The future, a dream. All we ever have is now. Bill Cosby.
So, Lil Andy, I know you don't know me yet, but I know a lot about you. I know where you sleep. I know what you eat. And I know you stole those Pokemon cards from the jean department at Walmart last week. You better hope Mama don't find out. She will find out. But just so you know, I'm not a Walmart executive or CIA agent or a creeper. I'm you in 10 years. Now don't worry, Andy. We won't be in Walkersville, Maryland much longer. One more year, and we'll be out that joint. I know it's hard being one of only 8 black students in the 5th grade. And it's not a matter of you can't make any friends, but you're having a hard time relating to anybody. Am I right? And you would think that recess would be your favorite part of the day, but you can't stand it. Why is that? Remember that time when Mom bought you those new And One sneakers from the Kohl's clearance rack? You thought you were hot stuff. And then on top of that, you wore that Wizards Michael Jordan jersey every 3 days, right? You really thought you were doing something. But at the end of the day, all you want to do was ball like MJ at recess. And so when you approach the black kids on the blacktop, you ask, hey, can I play for a little bit? And they look at you sideways and say things like, the soccer field is over there, bruh. And they say the zoo is 20 minutes up the street. You'll be able to chase your lions, tigers, and monkeys when you get over there. And then by the end of recess, you got called African booty scratcher 17 times. And you would wonder why. Why do people that look the most like you treat you so differently? Like you couldn't find any common ground. Why do they treat you like that, Andy? Why do they treat us like that? Now, your family wasn't much different. Remember the times we used to go to church in Beltsville? You used to play tag with all your cousins and family friends, and after you were done, the elders would come over to you, and they'd pinch your cheeks, the ones on your face, that is, until they got sore. And then they greet you in Swahili and say things like sasa, habari yako, karibuni. And you reply in your 1 to 2 word response that you've been programmed to say since you were 2 years old, and that'll be the end of that. No more Swahili for you. And you would wonder afterwards, the elders would laugh at your ignorance because you couldn't speak the language, and they say things like, you? Such an American. And then you used to wonder why you couldn't even feel part of your own family since you didn't speak a language. And then this began a quest of questions that you would ask for the rest of your life. How do you define your blackness? Are you African? Are you African American? Are you Black American? Are you not Black enough? Are you not African enough? And you would have so many questions and yet so little answers. And I'll be frank with you, Andy. You're going to struggle with these questions for the next decade. But I do have some answers for you. It's not a matter of where you were born or where your parents were born. It's not how thick your hair is or how dark your skin is. There's no true one image of what being Black is. Black is universal. Black comes in many sizes, shapes, colors, creeds, cultures, and languages. You see, there's a reason why you look the way you look, why you walk tall the way you do, and why your skin has been kissed by the sun. You see, if you go back far enough in your family's history, you'll find that your great grandparents and aunties and uncles, they were kings and queens. You are a descendant of kings and queens, and that makes you a prince. And just like the Black kids on the blacktop, you all share the same history. A history rich and glorious in Africa, and Mama Africa. They are African. You, sir, are African. Do not be ashamed. Be proud of your African roots. Be proud of your nappy hair. Be proud of your chocolate skin, your sexual chocolate skin. A special, beautiful woman is going to love that one day. Be proud of sharing a diaspora of people who were the cradle of civilization. Andy, even if those princes and princesses don't currently see you as one of them, you share more in common with them than you can ever imagine. I want you to be a leader for bringing people who look like you and who don't together. No matter where they're from, Mama Africa is the root. One day you'll be a Terp, just like you had dreamed. And it'll all make sense. You're going to meet some people that will change your life forever. But until then, keep working hard, keep walking tall, and don't hang your head, Andy. Embrace your inner Kunta Kinte, and embrace that new guy, Kanye. But don't pick one or the other. Be a Kuntie. Be you.
I still have my feet on the ground. I just wear better shoes. Oprah Winfrey.
We assign a word to something in order to show others what it means so that they can understand, right? So that means they're kind of like signs. I'm thinking neon, large and bright. After all, signs and signals show people what's coming up, like indicators on a car or a bus. Well, don't words do the same thing for the world around us? They show us what's green, what's a poem. The message that the writers want you to glean, something to keep you thinking after you get home. So then, what kind of sign are we creating when we say the word nigger? Is it one of a black man pulling a trigger? Or maybe it's one of a slave working on a plantation. That's right. We can't forget that part of our nation. Or is it a yellow triangle with a boy in a black hoodie leaving a corner store, thinking about whoever it was that he bought those Skittles and iced tea for? Oh, you say it depends. So it's like a stoplight then? Allowing those on one side to go, to say it, and those on the other to wait in dismay for a bit? Well then, who or what changes the light? Is it the liberal left or the religious right? Or maybe it's society in its PC fright. If white people can't say nigga, does that mean we have to take it back so we can use their arms on each other? What kind of sense is that? Dropping N-bombs on our people until it hurts no more. Is that what we're using their arms for? I mean, I'm sorry, give me a second. Sorry, I'm blanking right now. Or maybe we use them to protect our own. Stop those cops and other niggas from trying to take our homes. But some of those cops are our own too, and they don't want to fight. In fact, they swore that oath in order to make our homes right. So we're fighting for the same cause, trying to do right by the same laws, using their arms, caught in the same flaws. We turned on the lights in the Autobahn, but didn't make it brighter. Instead, we modified their weaponry, made it a little lighter so we could carry it better and still look like some fighters. Drop the ER so you don't end up in the ER. Add an A so we can make it through another day. If it's plural, add a Z. Just keep zoning out our ancestry. These variations, they work. Yeah, they're okay. But I don't like how they change the way that you see me. Niggas in Paris while Jay and Ye are on tour? Louis et Marie, vous êtes more. More poor, new clothes and new shoes too. Welfare well enough with their shit. We're cool with it. Niggas was raised in the streets. So as long as our hearts beat, we fight to empower the youth. Don't let them niggas get to you.
Occasionally in life, there are those moments of unutterable fulfillment which cannot be completely explained by those symbols called words. Their meanings can only be articulated by the inaudible language of the heart. Martin Luther King, Jr.
Ask me how I feel about Black History Month. So I can tell you that I don't understand it. I don't understand why history scholars and professors have admitted that Black history has been omitted out of the textbooks, yet we haven't gotten around to fixing it. I don't understand what Black people think they're doing when they say they're celebrating Black History Month by not confronting any form of history, but by going on social media and making it seem as if Black people are superior for the month of February. Because if that's the case, are we inferior for the months of March and May and December? Are we inferior for the other 11 months? I don't understand it because I don't understand how people in this country don't understand why we need Black History Month when we don't even know the history that created this country. Ask me how I feel about Black History Month, so I can tell you that I love it. I love it because everywhere I look for the month of February, I see how far we've come as a race. I love it because I know my family loves it, and my older family particularly, because they see Black History Month for what it is instead of what elitist and racist people are trying to make it become. I love it because as a little girl, I dreamed about one day being celebrated during Black History Month, but now I know that when I am successful, I will be celebrated every month of the year. Ask me how I feel about Black History Month so I can tell you that I hate it. I hate that we still need it, and I hated every year in middle and grade and high school sitting in a classroom as my classmates turned to me listening to the Black History Month curriculum as if I was supposed to speak for all Black people everywhere. Ask me why I hate it, why I don't understand it, why I love it. Ask me and I'll tell you I'm confused. Let me correct myself, amused. I'm amused at why in 2013 we're still using the Dr. Martin Luther King's dream as nothing more than words in an African American studies classroom, as nothing more than a Facebook status on Martin Luther King Day, as nothing more than an excuse, and as nothing more than a platform to sit on and do absolutely nothing but dream. It's time to stop dreaming. And no, I'm not saying to stop having dreams. It's time to stop preoccupying our time thinking about what needs to be done instead of actually doing it. Ask me how I feel about Black History Month, and I'll tell you. Dr. Martin Luther King had a dream. We all know that. But unlike so many people in my generation, he acted on that dream. He didn't disguise laziness as waiting to be discovered, waiting on a record deal, waiting for the next big move. The waiting room, it's full. In fact, it's overflowing, but we're still sucking up our time waiting for the doctor to solve our problems. But you see, if we actually make it into his office, we're left with nothing more than a pat on the back and an addicting subscription, soon to become an addiction. Good job, little Black person. You've come so far. Oh, you don't need to graduate the 6th grade. There's always next year. Oh, don't worry about graduation. You'll do it next time. Oh, you don't need to do well in college. At least you made it here. And with every pat on the back, I actually think we start to believe what's being said. And I don't know about you, but I am sick and tired of that condescending voice destroying our race as we actually start to believe what's being said. And we start to believe that none of this is our fault, when it is just as much our fault as anyone else's. You see, the waiting room, it's full of people who felt ill to disbelief, whose hate-filled sneezes and spiteful coughs were more contagious than a stomach bug, and who leached onto each other, sucking the life out of each other faster than an insanity workout. The waiting room is full of people who forgot to cover their mouths and let their children hear too much, who forgot to wash their hands and let their culture of laziness cultivate in the lives of others, who forgot to exercise, their voting rights as American citizens. And who forgot to say, no, don't touch me, don't hug me, don't shake my hand, I'm sick. But instead opened themselves up to relationships that they were not ready for and left with nothing more than an angry heart and an unwanted child or a lifelong disease. You see, as African Americans, blacks, whatever you call yourself, we've been split, divided, and torn down the middle. Torn by side effects like divorce, teen pregnancy, high dropout rates, low economic status, high imprisonment, and low test scores. We've been split by the psychological disease of hopelessness that no shot can prevent and no antibiotics can cure. We've been divided by symptoms of anger manifested through arguments, pointless disagreements about skin tone, politics, where we live, and whom we choose to love. So why, in 2013, can a black man and a white woman walk down the same street without a double take? And why do their biracial babies have to endure the hatred and the teasing, which is quite frankly nothing more than jealousy coming from the mouths of those who are uncomfortable within their own skin? Why is it 2013 and we still think C's get degrees? And while they may, they don't get jobs. And they don't produce excellence, so why are we still buying it? Why is it 2013 and a black girl is still called trying to be white if she's not trying to be ghetto? Where if she clicks her tongue and pops her gum and clicks her lips, she's hip. But if she pronounces her T's and curls her C's and finishes her ings, she's wrong. Why is it 2013 and an Oreo can't just be my favorite cookie again, but a negative connotation for a black girl trying to be white? I'm just a girl with questions. And you may not have answers, but guess what? It's time to get some. Strengthen your mental immune system and avoid the waiting room like the plague. And that's how I feel about Black History Month.
You have seen how a man was made a slave. You shall see how a slave was made a man. Frederick Douglass.
In 1973, I walked the corridors of the Zoology Psychology Building and the Kellman Library, pursuing a PhD. There were very few people of color on campus, and not so many in the surrounding Prince George's County communities. I was grateful that in psychology, there were 2 black faculty members and a handful of African-American graduate students. And I generally felt welcomed and supported in my department. But the campus as a whole was culturally homogenous, conservative, alienating. For example, the Diamondback published Coors beer ads with overtly racist images of Latino people, and when a group of us students of color protested, no one seemed to get it. For me, even the colonial-style buildings conjured up images, ugly images of plantation-era slavery. As an African-American woman, this didn't feel like my campus. And every evening I relished jumping into my car and driving back to Northeast DC, where I live. I graduated in 1978. I only attended the ceremony because my parents insisted. Never expected to come back to campus, never wanted to. But Maryland wasn't my first experience in an alienating environment. I grew up in DC in a neighborhood that was 95% black and attended predominantly black public schools through 8th grade. Then in 1966, I was recruited and given a full scholarship to attend the Madeira School, a private girls' prep school all along the banks of the Potomac River. I was one of 2 girls African people in my modern European history class. I remember one day when we were learning about European colonization of Africa. And the message from the textbook was that Africans were savages, less than human. And my teacher, Mrs. Wexler, whom I had really, really admired, she did nothing, not a thing, to counter that message. And for some reason, I felt ashamed, as if I had done something wrong. And all I wanted to do was escape, to get out of there, and I found myself sliding under my desk, desperately trying to disappear. But I couldn't. In 1970, I matriculated at Princeton University. Princeton was the Southern Ivy, so it was called. Staid, uber-waspy, elitist. And this was only the second year that they had admitted women. And believe me, the old boys culture was in full swing. And there were only 200 black students out of a student population of 5,000. And basically, I lived in that small black world. It was my buffer, my protection, my security blanket. It was a time of activism. And we were deeply concerned about things like the university's investments in apartheid South Africa. We hated the fact that the university was indirectly supporting such an oppressive regime. We felt we were better than that. And so when I was a junior, about 100 of us staged a protest, a nonviolent sit-in in the lobby of the main library. And we were told to move. And we refused. And we were told to move, and we said, hell no! The university authorities were able to identify about 20 of us, put us on trial, and threatened to expel us. I was bewildered. I was just trying to do the right thing. We all were. And I did think, oh my God, what if I could call home and tell my parents that I'm on my way back for good? They would have killed me. Fortunately, a radical white sociology professor took up our cause, defended us at the trial, and we prevailed. My experiences of being in the minority, of being an outsider, of racism, sexism, classism, have framed and shaped my life. And it's ironic that I'm back here at University of Maryland and providing leadership around diversity and inclusion. And I have to tell you, I'm glad to be back. I'm excited about being here. I'm simultaneously aware of tremendous strides in progress and of continued problems that keep us from realizing our vision. I feel deeply challenged and invigorated. And you know, there's been a side benefit for me. It's been healing to stroll down the steps of Main Administration, where my office is, and to take in the grand vista of our mall, to walk the campus with a fuller sense of belonging and ownership, to put words to my experiences from the 70s. And it's been especially meaningful to advocate for those who've been shunted to the sidelines and to enhance the capacity of our entire community to live and work effectively and justly in a diverse, dynamic, and shrinking world.
The workings of the human heart are the profoundest mystery of the universe. One moment they make us despair of our kind, and the next we see them in the reflection of the divine image. Charles W. Chestnut.
Why are they staring at me? Is it because I'm different? No, I don't look like they want me, so I stand alone and look in. Why won't they print me in pages? I thought we were the same, and maybe I'm wrong. They say, no, we can't star her. She's just a bit darker than what we want. But I'm not my skin. I'm more than my wrapping. I'm not my skin. I'm more than the color. I'm existence like no other. And you may think that I'm ugly and that no one will love me, but I think you're wrong. So we don't need your approval to feel beautiful, just the way we're dark. That boy said he won't marry me just because I'm brown. And his mother knows she won't like me if my hair don't sit down. Why won't they put me in movies? I'm just as amusing as those girls. No, we can't put her on runways. Just doesn't have the right face for our world. But I'm not my skin. I'm more than my wrapping. No, I'm not my skin. I'm more than the color. I'm existence like no other. And you may think that I'm ugly and that no one will love me, but I think you're wrong. So we don't need your approval to feel beautiful, just the way we're dark. They always tear us down, keep kicking us on the ground. So we bleach and we sew, so they'll keep us around. But they can't hold us down, no. Well, it's in our hands now. We gotta show with purpose that we know we're worth it. 'Cause we're not our skin. We're more than our wrapping. So we're not our skin. We're more than the color. We're existence like no other. And you may think that we're worthless and that no one will want us, but I think you're wrong. So we don't need your approval to feel beautiful, just the way we're dark.
For those who don't know me, my name is Aurin Agramonte, and I am the graduate coordinator for Black Student Involvement, so Haley's position now. And before I ask the performers to come out to give a final applause, I just wanted to say it is an extreme honor just to be part of this experience and to have continued the Black Monologues legacy that was just started a couple years ago. And I want to point out that this program would not have been possible without the office that I work for, the Multicultural Involvement Community Advocacy Office, which is my family also, and the Hoff Grant. So thank you, round of applause for them. I also want to give a huge thank you to the students of Erasable Inc. I don't know if you guys are in the crowd, but they're the improv group that helped the performers present their monologues in a more fluid and engaging way. They helped us with the skills and everything, so honestly, we just owe you guys a big, huge round of applause. Thank you so much. And then finally, I'm sure you see my shirt, the Black History Month shirt, and you all, I'm sure most of you came to get one of those. And so hopefully you guys can stay for the question and answer dialogue that's going to take place in a couple minutes. But otherwise, once you exit the Hoff Theater, you're going to find some MICA folks, and they're going to have iPods and the shirts. So once you fill out the survey, it's like 2 minutes, 10 questions about your thoughts for the events, then you can get a shirt. But your feedback is very important to us. It helps us to improve the show for next year, and it also just helps us enhance the program altogether. So please take out the time to do that, and you get the lovely shirt. And now the moment you all have been waiting for, can I bring out the wonderful performers and hosts for... Yeah, so if you guys can sit on the corner of the stage, I guess we can start the question and answers. If you guys have any questions for the performers about the writing process, their monologues, just performing, anything, there's a mic right here. Once we get the lights, sorry, I made this. Can we get all lights? Mic check. So does anyone have any questions?
This question is for the lady that sang. I think it's Camille, because I heard somebody in the crowd yell it. I just want to say that was absolutely beautiful. I actually almost cried, so kudos to you. But is that a completely original piece? Wow. Okay, that's all I want to know. Good job.
Can we turn off the spotlight, please?
I had a question for Sally Matu.
Thank you.
Did I pronounce it? Okay. Salimatu, sorry. I just want to know what inspired your poem, because it was really, really deep. I really liked it. If it's not too personal.
Basically, I wanted to tell the story that went under my skin. When I was first thinking about doing this, I've done the Black Monologues before, and I've talked about race issues, I've talked about personal issues, but this is the first time I ever wanted to talk about something that actually affected me, that wasn't on a superficial level, that I could talk about freely, something that caused a little bit of pain. Over the break, I wasn't really watching that much TV or anything, so it took I had a lot of time to self-reflect on who I was and what affected my behavior. And growing up the poem is about I grew up in a pretty domestically violent household, and I didn't realize how much it affected my behavior and who I was until went to break. So yeah, that's what inspired me, and just wanted to talk about that. your song on iTunes?
No, sorry.
You need to put it on.
What was the question? It's a song on iTunes.
Your answer was no.
Not yet.
Certainly.
How do you feel the prospects are for women of minorities in academia and professionally now, as opposed to when you were going through the process itself?
Pass it back.
Is this working? Yeah. I think I didn't have it on during the performance, did I? Sorry about that. Minor detail. Let's see. You know, I think certainly things have gotten better, I would say. I mean, I was here in the 70s. One sign that they're better is we weren't even talking about what was going on with women and minorities. There wasn't a language around multiculturalism. We didn't talk about diversity. Certainly there were women and people of color here at the university, but there wasn't a discourse about these as core issues, and there certainly wasn't a discourse about inclusion. So if anything, it was, you ought to be grateful you're here. Hope you do okay, fine, and not any dialogue about how important it is not just to let people in the door, but to create a culture that's affirming and supportive. We still have lots of persistent issues, and one of the challenges, I'd say, in 2013 is that the biases are often more subtle than overt, more nuanced than in your face. And sometimes that blinds us, even those of us who are part of those groups, to the reality that there are these kind of biases and stereotypes that are affecting us. So I think it makes it harder to kind of put our arms around it, to figure out what it is, and even sometimes to discern, is it me, is it them, is it just they're having a bad day, is it what, and that ambiguity actually can be very stressful.
You're not ready?
This question is for Andrew. I've never seen that autistic device used before, like having, instead of just like telling us what happened to you in the past, like talking to your former self. What inspired you to do that? Because that's a very interesting way of doing things.
Right. Actually, originally I wrote it as a letter. So I was gonna do it like, dear little Andy. But just recently, I was talking like with some of the people that were helping us out, and I came up with an idea of like, how about I just like use like the chair? I know. Have you guys seen the Republican National Convention? I mean, I kind of like, I don't want to give Clint Eastwood like all the credit in the world, but like, I mean, I kind of took that idea of like, you know what? I'm gonna be talking to myself anyway. How about I personify it by using a chair? And so I felt like that would, be more personal. And honestly, like, I'm not a poet or anything, but I felt like by writing a letter and like doing my monologue that way, I was like more comfortable. So that's really like kind of like why I did it the way I did.
Mic check. It works.
This question's for Justina. How do you resolve or come to terms with the fact that you, at one point, or possibly still do, believe in God and yet are possibly actively sinning? How do you resolve that conflict?
Well, I actually talked to my pastor about it, and he says it's just you can work on it, but you're never going to really stop. So you kind of have to accept that you are a sinner, I guess. I am a sinner.
My question is also for Justina. I noticed that your piece was one of the few pieces, actually I think it's the only piece that didn't use the word black, brown, or color at all to be featured in the Black Monologue. So my question to you is, how do you feel religion plays in African American, African, or black culture? Why did you choose to do a religious piece, and how has it impacted your life?
Because I feel as if with with black people more so than any other race, it's emphasized. It's shoved down, down your throat really. Growing up and especially coming to college, it's very active amongst the black community, be Christian or Muslim, but it's very strong. Not many people live it like halfway, So.
Is it working? Okay. This question is for Dr. Goodman. My friend and I actually graduated from an all-girls private high school too. I don't know if you heard it. It's called Holton Arms. And I was just wondering if you felt that it was worth it for you to pursue that higher education during that time when it must have been very hard to go to a school like that.
If it was worth it to have gone to the girls' school, yeah, I don't regret it at all.
Okay.
I mean, it certainly marked my life in some very significant ways. I think if I had not gone to Madeira and had that experience, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I wouldn't be chief diversity. I mean, I think it sort of set me on a trajectory that professionally as well as personally. I got a really, really good Eurocentric education. Really, really good one. But the social-emotional toll was something that I think probably I wouldn't have become a clinical psychologist if I weren't so kind of hell-bent, if you will, on figuring myself out and how I navigated these worlds. So it's my life, it's what I've lived, and no, I have no regrets, but I continue to process and make sense of those experiences from many decades ago.
Okay, it's working. Yeah, this is for anyone who wants to answer. I just was asking, what conversation or dialogue would you want to have with like a white classmate or colleague about race that you've never gotten to actually have?
Well, that's actually an interesting question because I kind of go through this like piece where I'm talking about a variety of things. Such as privilege and racist systems. And I've actually kind of had a conversation with a white classmate about that. She said something very ignorant in one of my classes, and she wasn't aware of what she was saying. So I raised my hand and I went ahead and corrected her or informed her on what she was saying and the impact that it had. And it had to do with something like, she doesn't understand why someone would feel like an outsider or a foreigner if they're born in the United States or like they don't belong. And I really explained to her more so about how racism is a institutionalized structure, and through that, people, minorities and people of color feel it in reverberating ways. So I guess going into that kind of conversation, I would love to have it with more white classmates so that they can understand that by virtue of being white, there are certain privileges that you have. Just like by virtue of being a man, you're born with inherent privileges because of the social structure that we live in. So I guess having that conversation with more white classmates would make me very happy.
In terms of, I guess, I'm a gov major, so that should say it all. If I was to have I've never really had a conversation with a white classmate for the most part because I just tend to write them off because I'm a gov major. And so if that were me, I would just warn them about the dangers of boxing people into certain things. This single story idea that we attach to a lot of different minorities, that just because one person that you know is black or you know is Latino or you know is East Asian or Southeast Asian that have like done something, you attribute it to all of them, which happens a lot. And my story is not like anybody in this stage's audience, nothing like anybody in this room. So if you were going to assume that all black people, which when I did talk to one of my friends when I was younger about this situation, they're like, oh, all black people are domestically violent. Like, I saw that on TV. No, it's not. It's not true at all. So it's just about the danger of boxing people into different things. Just understanding that it's not about the color, it's about the story under the color, which is something that I wanted to bring to this, which is why I talked about what I did.
Hello? Okay. So this is a question for everyone on stage that came to mind during, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. The great piece of, I'm sorry, no, red jacket, not red pants. The piece about avoiding the waiting room, and I really think it's great to kind of get this rousing, inspiring dialogue about avoiding it, but I feel like in this inspirational kind of message, we miss a lot of what are some concrete ways that we can start avoiding this waiting room right now. So I just, what you guys' thoughts would be about things that we can do, that I can wake up and do tomorrow, or suggest that my mom do or my brother do, I think would be a great way of kind of getting this grassroots thing going if it's like manageable, you know?
One reason I chose to write about the waiting room is because I feel like in my experiences, I went to a college preparatory school, primarily Caucasian, and at that school, I was involved in a lot of different things, and we were really pushed to do a lot. And when I came to college, I wanted to do that same thing, but I found that a lot of the people I was friends with were like, oh, like, you can't do that. Just chill. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, we don't really need to do that much, you know? I feel like as a black community in general, we aren't as big of advocates as we should be. And there's a lot of issues that we have in our own community, and like sometimes we'll sit and talk about them, but very rarely do we actually go out and do something. So I think just changing your attitude instead of sitting and watching things go wrong, actually trying to fix them, even like little things like like she said, when you hear someone saying something that you don't agree with, instead of just sitting there talking about it and tweeting about it, actually saying something to them and confronting it and solving those issues.
I think another thing that we can do as far as like in the black community is study our history and study Garvey and study Du Bois. Like these are the people that like paved the way for learning about our history. And I think once we learn about our history and about our past, we'll be able to like respect ourselves enough to not put ourselves in the waiting room. And then you understand that, you know, we do have descendants that were kings and queens. And it's like, we learn about this in high school or, you know, in grade school. You know, you learn just mostly like through the Eurocentric point of view, but we're never taught from like our history. And so I think that that's something that we can start today, just reading something about African history and being able to tie in the Pan-African tie into that and make sure that, you know, we all see each other as one and not just like individual, like, hey, I'm African American or I'm Caribbean, but see each other as like one people. And then eventually we can move towards being one people globally.
I think that in addition to that, and it's already been touched on in the conversation that's happened, is we have those conversations with not even just white classmates, anyone of any other color, and letting them know like this is what's going on in the community and educating ourselves, and then not just educating ourselves like us peers here, but the younger generation also, because what they're hearing, it's going on in music, or what is being perpetuated all the time, or they're being told is not to be involved, or that like, oh, you can be involved, but only in this certain thing, or to like, you know, just like listen to music and like you said, just chill, you know, like just go through the motions, and it's kind of unconsciously said that you're stuck where you are, and so if we take one person of another color and one person, regardless of the color, from a younger generation, and all three of us go and actively be involved in something that can help raise awareness, then that's something I feel like it's what is it called, the ripple effect? You know, they'll learn something from that and then take it to someone else, and hopefully we'll, you know, empty out that waiting room.
Each one teach 1,000.
Yeah.
Mine was to go off of Jatera's as well, because I feel the exact same way. You know, like during Black History Month, you know, you're confused because it's like, why do we have Black History Month? But at the same time, you love it, you know, like you love all the events that are going on. You love celebrating it. But, you know, it's hard when it's something that everyone celebrates, you know, to be like, you know, I don't celebrate it. So do you think that celebrating it is different from believing in it? And I know that when you celebrate it, you know, you're kind of pushing Black History Month. But I feel like a certain type of way about it, because if I am a colored girl and I see everyone consciously trying to celebrate Black History Month, even though there should not be a Black History Month, you know, I can't just sit here and not do anything. Not that, you know, I'm talking too much, but I'm saying, you know, I don't know, but basically what I'm trying to say is that, you know, we can try year long to do do our part as colored people, but during Black History Month, is it wrong to celebrate it and, you know, be involved in events like this and be involved in events that are specifically for Black History Month? That was long, I'm sorry about that. Just talked too much.
I don't think it's wrong to celebrate it. I think it's wrong to celebrate it in the name of making Black people look inferior, or superior, excuse me. I don't think it's wrong to celebrate it. I think that we're in a place where a few decades ago, not even a few decades ago, a few years ago, everyone was saying, like, it's necessary, like, we need Black History Month because it's not put out there. Okay, now that we're all aware about that, like, why aren't things being changed in the way that history is being told? Why isn't our story being incorporated into a year-long thing, you know? Like, I think that Black History Month is so necessary at this point, but I don't think that it should be around in another 10 years, to be perfectly honest, because I think that to reach the point where we're actually, like, being diverse and actually having, like, real diversity, we need to be honoring Black history in more than just 1 month out of the year. But I don't think it's wrong to celebrate it. I think that we have to celebrate it, because if we don't, people from other races aren't going to pay attention to it.